I'm sure this is going to make my Marine friends mad, which I have a few. And I don't even know why I included the Air Force in that introduction. But in the fantasy peacetime I'm going to throw up here where America isn't battling in some stupid sandbox or some jungle around the world. In peacetime, I propose the Navy, then the Coast Guard, yes, the Coast Guard, above the Marines and the Army, are the hardest branches of the military. Now, I have 8 years in the Navy and 2 years in the Army Active Reserve. I did the 4, 2, and 4. I got medically discharged from the Navy. But in all that time, when I was in the Active Army Reserve, I grew up in a small town. We played in the woods. And when I was in the Active Army Reserve, it was like camping to me, running around the woods, shooting guns, MREs. I'm sorry, I liked the taste of them. Grew up dirt poor back when I was young. I just turned 70 today. Back when I was young, my dad had problems and nervous breakdown, and we were fed by the welfare trucks who pulled up to your door and gave you government cheese and peanut butter cans, and that's how you got fed. You didn't have these nice EBT cards where you got to pick out what you want and got cupcakes and stuff like that. No, there was no sweets and treats, chips and stuff. You got canned 5-gallon cans of the stuff too, and you got no name brands. They were just generic government stuff. And so, that lasted for a few years until my dad got over his condition and got back to work. And then we weren't rich. He was a contractor in a small town. So being in the Active Army Reserve, I thought it was fun, again, in this imaginary peacetime. Now, being out to sea during peacetime, on a good day, the sea is your friend. Now, I'm not talking about the Navy guys, shore sailors. I'm talking about seafaring sailors. The sea is your friend. On a medium day, it's living with a nagging wife or a nagging husband. Now the women are out to sea. Back when I was in, women weren't allowed out to sea, which I won't go there. But, or a house full of like 12 kids. It was just a little bit of chaos, and things got broken, people got hurt, but that was just medium to rough seas. On a bad day, if you've never been able to outrun a hurricane or a typhoon or a really bad storm, or if you hit a rogue wave, it was, if you're old enough to remember, Lorena Bobbitt, it was trying to kill you or take your manhood from you. My brother was on a carrier, and I was in the same battle group as him. He was taking green water on the carrier's deck. I was on a destroyer. We were playing submarine. We were losing antennas off our ship. We had to go into dry dock afterwards. We couldn't outrun this typhoon. We were getting like BBs in a bottle, and somebody was shaking it. Those of us who were lucky, I was a sonar tech, those of us who were lucky enough to have seatbelts could strap ourselves in. Poor engineer guys and stuff. We didn't even get a hot meal. The cooks weren't even going to cook. They announced over the 1MC, which is, for those of you who don't know, a communication device that speaks to the whole ship. They weren't serving any food. The commanding officer got on there and he said, what they meant to say was they weren't serving any hot food. Yeah, he was mad. He said, you're giving my men food, whether it's cold sandwiches or not, they're going to eat. Me and about 10 other guys went down there to eat because a lot of guys weren't even going to unhook themselves from whatever safety gear they were locked in. But yeah, on a bad day, the ship tries to kill you. I've known a friend of mine, he was a marathon runner. He was going down a ladder, had to go to his job. It broke with him on it. Broke both his knees when it hit the deck. I've known guys, cooks, going up ladders, got their gear fell down, got jabbed in the side. Had to helo him off when we could to get the doctors to look after him. The corpsman, the great corpsman, ask any Marine. They work with our corpsman. These guys can save your life under the worst conditions. Amazing, the guys. Now, that's the deep sea sailors. The puddle jumpers, sorry, Coast Guard, you know I love you guys. They have to deal with going out on rescues for these people in small boats who don't know when to listen to the warnings. Those guys go over waves that are insane in those little boats they have. And I've seen in our battle group coastie ships, which are smaller than destroyers and cruisers that I've been on. What are they doing in deep water? I have no idea. But I've seen them out there, and not very often, but twice on a cruise, I've seen one of them out where he didn't belong. I don't know if it was what was going on, but you don't know everything that's happening out there. So I say in imaginary peacetime, the Navy is the hardest service to be in, out to sea. Let me phrase it that way. And the puddle jumper is the second. In Marines and Army, you can fight it out. We won't even mention Space Force. I don't know what they do. And Air Force, I guess you're above Space Force, so you can take some kudos there. I'm sure that ticked everybody off, except the Coast Guard. They can brag now they're above the Marines. All right, have fun arguing it, and I can't wait for some of those comments.